okay, and they mean this is the cloud which is best for you. They kind of provide that particular data. So the data is what they will do. Now this roadmap data set is also collecting the data and telling me that, you know, these are the things you should learn to become a DevOps engineer. Okay, so that's where we're actually, okay, coming and you know, following the same topics, by the way, whatever we have here. All right, so if you look into the things, by the way, so here so they're telling to start with the programming language. Maybe you can shift to the ending also. It starts with the programming. Rather than that, you shift to the ending also. You can do that. That's okay. That is fine. But some language is needed. But why is it needed? At the end, you will get a context from the training. You're going to get a context that, you know, why do you require this some language? Why they're telling exclusively? At least you should learn one thing. Pick any one for automation. Why do you require? You will naturally know about it. Okay, so why and all, so but we don't have this one in the syllabus, but you will get a context from the training, by the way, that, you know, why do you need it as well. Okay, maybe post the training, you already get something called as shell scripting. So here the OS concepts is the big topic, by the way, so which will be covered. So the, you know, so OS topics, and there is a shell scripting, by the way, so we'll talk about shell scripting. So rather than these particular scriptings, we'll start with the shell. Okay, shell and why shell is important, by the way. So because that they're not giving option here. On these, they are giving option, and they're not keeping shell as an option. Whereas shell is an inevitable. You cannot avoid. At least if you want to become a something, so then around the automation, the shell scripting is the foundation. You have to make your foundation strong. So that's where the shell scripting. So we talk about different models anyhow. So these are all part of the operating system. So these will be covered mostly by OS related standards like Linux things, whatever we learn, and some scripting related things, whatever we learn, and also like, you know, so some architecture reviews, whatever we do. So you'll come to know about so many of these things. Come to the third step. So here's a major important one. So now learn infrastructure as a code. Learn infrastructure as a code. So here we have something called as, so the purple color, whatever we have is a preference from these guys. What is the purple color is the recommendation from these guys. Okay, now coming back to this, so then Istio or Console. So these are the two products widely used. So we'll talk about one of that. And the next one is containers. You have two things. Docker we'll talk about. We have syllabus in the Docker. So this Istio and Console or Istio, by the way, I haven't kept it in the syllabus. Why? Because the project which we are going to use, by the way, is not going to support Istio or any other service mesh. Okay, but we deal with this in a different manner. Okay, and we will compare that with the service mesh features. So that's where, what is a service mesh? You'll get an overview. But without service mesh, we'll do it. In a service mesh way, we do that. Okay, and okay, point that routes to the service mesh. That is what we do. So that's where it is not there in the syllabus. It is not mentioned that way. All right. Coming to the configuration management, Ansible there is in my syllabus. Coming to the container orchestration, Kubernetes is there in my syllabus. And coming to the infrastructure provisioning, Terraform is there in my syllabus. Coming to the CI/CD tool, Jenkins is there in my syllabus. Coming to the infrastructure monitoring, so we have Prometheus and Grafana in the syllabus. And coming to the application monitoring, okay, so this one also we are not doing. By the way, we are doing with in a context of this guy, log management. From the log management and Prometheus together, we are calling it as application monitoring. So we are not picking any exclusively tool on that, but there are certain tools on that. So I will give you an overview of Jaeger. This Jaeger is widely used tool here. I'll give you an overview on this particular tool in our project which we use, by the way. Okay, and finally coming to the cloud, so we talk about AWS and talking about the design patterns, by the way. And the design patterns are very important thing that we focus in our training, because our training goes on three model. Our training goes with a project which runs on 3 models, by the way. So let me just show you. So here, so just let me take the results from the recent completed batch. So what we do, by the way, is so we actually run the project or structure the project. So this is what we call it as. So we take the application, we deploy the full application, and we are going to call it as 3 times. or we're going to call it as three ways: mutable infra, immutable infra, and containerized infra. So this was, so before 10 years, how we used to do that. Mutable infra will come into that. So more cloud come into picture. So what are the different features of the cloud that you can use it? And so we'll make it as an immutable infra, and much more modern way. So today all happening on the containerized. So you'll have containerized. So back in days, so our strategies, our approaches, leads to so many problems. Okay, you see so many red things, by the way, coming into picture. What are these red things? Don't worry, but you see so many red, by the way. We analyzed at time. Okay, so when we do the training, by the way, we analyze all these points. So and we'll highlight these certain things are red, by the way. So coming to the cloud and all, so it little bit solve lot many problems that you have with the application. But you go with the containerized, it almost solve every problem which is related to the application. I'm talking about only application. And each and every time when I develop this particular infra with this in this infra context, like mutable, immutable, or containerized context, so we are going to generate a load onto the application. So now if you see this, the timestamp, by the way, so whatever is the timestamp, maybe 15 minutes or a half an hour timestamp, whatever I had it here on that timestamp. So I sent like 31,000 requests to the system. I sent 31,000 requests to the system, and I see zero failures. Oh, sorry, this one. So go to the start with the mutable approach and 29,000 requests on certain time, by the way. Certain time frame will take it up. So on that certain time frame, okay, so we actually send 29,000 failures. So we do certain analysis, like, so we touch all the instances, one instance at a time. So we are seeing like, so almost like 139 failures out of 29,000 error, 29,000 requests. 139 requests were failed because I touched the system. The moment I touching the system, like, I'm doing some upgrade and things like that, the end user is actually facing the issue. The end user is going to face the issue. Okay, so that is what these particular requests, okay, the numbers is. We get clearly the count, by the way. Okay, and however, so we get onto the immutable approach. Like I was telling, like, this mutable approach is a little legacy, like 10 years back, how you used to do that. That times when you used to do that, so this, okay, the surprise was like, this 139 can also become, so that 1300 also, 13,000 also it can become. Okay, that's how it used to be back in days. Okay, but slowly, as a period of evolution, by the way, so we started getting the cloud and we started getting little maturity in the market, in the usage. So we are getting the things in a matured way we do it. So which is going to be an immutable approach. When we go with the immutable approach, so the same thing, like around 30,000 requests. So the same touch has been done, but there was only 0 requests, no failure. We don't see even a single failure also. We can do that. It's all about strategy. That's a very important thing, by the way. So here, even these guys are also highlighting there, by the way, which is in the roadmap AWS Devops also. So here they're talking about the patterns, by the way, is very important thing. Okay, so how do you design your pattern? So we'll tune the things, patterns, understand the things. We do the fine tuning. So what is causing our issue? How can I tune it up? What is the workaround? Now, all our goal was we'll work towards 0 errors. Now, once we reach there, you touch any system at any point of time, you will never see any failures. That is how the the cloud features comes into picture. Okay, so that is where it is. And finally we get on to the containerized as well. So with the containerized approach also, so we generally see like, so the same around 30,000 requests, maybe 30,000 is coming, like, we'll do it for some 30 minutes of downtime at that time, by the way. So you see 0 errors again. Okay, we clearly see the results with our own eyes, by the way. So what's happening, okay, with our own eyes, that is what we're going to do. And everything we are going to do in the training. Okay, our training is basically our training is greenfield approach. It's already been mentioned, right? So just coming back to the point, so our we're actually going with the greenfield training, isn't it? So the meaning, like, we don't actually develop anything, we just bring it and just showcase you. Whatever we do, okay, in the training is being done in the training only. Out of training we don't do anything at all. Okay, at least I don't do anything. So anything, whatever I want to teach, I teach in the training only. So this brings a lot of understanding, okay, how to do the things from the scratch. We literally do a sine wave. Okay, so that means sine wave is basically like, maybe a lot of people know, but still just want to give that. So we do the sine wave of, okay, understanding the things, that basically, like, we start from 0, we get into the very high level things, like go on to the very business level decisions, and we look back to the configuration, by the way. So that business level, okay, that business level decision should be looked to the, so code level configuration. Complete layer will try to do that. So that is what we're going to do. And the tools what we are going to learn is, we are completely inspiring or literally copying from roadmap.sh. Okay, I'm not putting any of my brain, okay, on dealing with, okay, why this, why that. Okay, so whatever they are giving, so I'm just taking it up. So certain tools, by the way, so for an example, like you just go with the cloud provider. Again, they're telling you go with any of these three clouds, by the way, so which is trending in the market. So AWS, Google Cloud, or DigitalOcean. So, but I'm picking only one. So here I'm keeping a little bit wise on my understanding, my experience, my analysis of the market. So I'm picking AWS. That's the only thing. Okay. So again, the same thing. Some other places like, so CI tool. I'm picking only Jenkins, but not the others. Okay. So just only this is how we are actually doing the things. All right, so coming back to the agenda. So we have covered the third agenda as well today. That what are the tools that we learn? So before going to the QA sessions, like generally, like I think I already mentioned this point. Are we learning the market needs? Of course, like I'm actually so referring the market needs and teaching you the market needs, that at least. But coming to the who can pursue this particular course, the same previous diagram about the teams. This guy will tell us like who can pursue the course. Who can pursue the course is anyone who is coming from this team is eligible to become a DevOps engineer. Okay, so anyone who is coming from this, even from this, by the way, that means like cloud. So there are certain companies who works as a tools teams. So in certain companies there are like so like for an example, Jenkins tool team. That means they work only on Jenkins, not anything at all. Okay, now any of these particular guy can become a DevOps engineer. Okay, so you can become a DevOps if you are any of these guy coming from this area. You're 100% welcome to do the things to become a DevOps engineer. You can. And the next one is the next guys are so there are little out of our box. So there are developers who become. So there are developers who became. There are developers who became so DevOps engineers, by the way. All right. So if you're a developer and if you're enthusiastic, okay, if you're an enthusiastic like a developer, okay, you can come back. Or there are certain people who come like a developer and say that I want to learn DevOps, I want to so know the full cycle of what to do, by the way, of a product and things like that. I want to know the things for knowing also. You can come. Okay, and there's a significant number of QA people, okay, become a DevOps engineers as well. So if you're a QA guy and you want to become a DevOps guy, you can. And a QA guy know the DevOps process and implement the things in QA, and still you can be a QA. Yes, you can do that. There are a lot of people does both the things. Completely shift to the DevOps is okay, and so completely shift to the or not completely shift, like partially know the things and still working on the QA is also fine. And there's also another team like so monitoring team like NOC, or we call it as L1 team. Okay, L1 L2 teams we generally call it like monitoring teams. So that level 1 level 2 teams also can come in and learn this particular course as well. So you're also little suitable. And apart from this, there are people who comes from other background. Like usually I hear like people coming from other backgrounds, like so something like at least I hear like mainframe or SAP or whatever it is. So any other IT other things, it is your choice. Okay, if you feel that you want to become a DevOps engineer and you're passionate about that, you can. Okay, and you can try, by the way. And there are certain people, certain audience who has done that as well. Okay, at least from my training. Okay, so because in IT industry, to really retire on one technology, so you definitely will have an option to choose, and a lot of organizations even accept it as well. That will not be an issue. So because the IT evolves, right? So while the evolution is happening, like you're a mainframe guy and you cannot work for mainframe guy for the next 100 years. It is not going to work. Okay, so that is where you have to evolve. So you have to evolve to certain area like that. Okay, so some enthusiasts can come in and learn about it. And so there are certain audience who comes from a career gap, like so you have a career gap, or you didn't started your career and you have some gap from your education, like you can still give a try, and you can, you can get onto the DevOps. Okay, but how to start it, or let me tell you this way, how to make a strategy of how to deal with the things, you will understand by end of the training. By end of the training, we'll focus on how do you get onto the market as well. So that time we'll talk about. And any grads is also okay, but is again, like I was telling, it was your choice. See, if you are coming from this area, okay, if you are coming from any of these particular areas, okay, I'll give you 100% okay from my side. Yes, you can try this particular training, you can go with this training, might give my 100% okay. But whereas you're coming from these backgrounds, so it has to be your choice. You're making a career choice here. Okay, so I think I'm not the right person to give you a career choice, because I'm a marketing guy and I'm trying to sell my course. Okay, it shouldn't work out that way. So you think about, okay, if why you're coming to the DevOps, what are the reasons that you have. Okay, you think about your reasons and you made up your mind that yes, I want to go with the DevOps only. Then I'll give you 100% from my side to make you a DevOps engineer. Okay, so that is what is the idea. All right, so that's where who can learn the things. It's about how is the market. I already covered this particular point in the very starting of the session. The market of the, okay, so the market of the training, market is for the training is not not training, but the DevOps is very good, by the way. Okay, so we already seen the numbers, like it's all talking about billions, by the way, right? And the services which we offer as a part of the training. So you're going to be on the training, by the way, and you're going to be on the training, and during the training we'll talk about a topic, and if you have any queries, you can raise your voice and you can understand the things, by the way, and you can clear it up. And the certain queries you'll get to pause the training also, right? Pause the session, not training, pause the session, pause the day session. If you have any queries, you can come back to me over a channel called the Slack channel. Okay, so something like this. So something like this, you will be having a Slack channel, you'll be posting the questions and I'll be answering them. Okay, this is one thing. And the next thing is also we'll be having every day a 30-minute window only for discussing if you have any additional queries. Okay, only for a discussion part. So you have other queries on the day while you're practicing the things, or you came to know about certain questions actually, so you want to get an answer. Maybe you don't want to wait to the next session, you want to join in between. So that's where you will be having a half an hour, another window to come and discuss the things as well. So and you can also use that as for your lab issues as well. Lab issues, mostly like Slack is the best approach, but still you want to come and talk about your lab issue, maybe I think that window also we have. So those are the things. And apart from that, we'll, as I already mentioned you, like by end of the training, we'll talk about a project. You have a project, how to take the project and keep it in your resume and things like that, how to get onto the market. Those particular things also will cover as a part of the training. That's what you're going to get it. And how to prepare. Most of the people come for career change, by the way, mostly for interviews perspective. So how to how to do with those particular things, and basically, like, what do we say, um, uh, so how to prepare for the interviews and all. So we'll talk about that particular one anyhow. And so that comes to the end of my presentation for today. And I hope I have answered most of your questions, but if you have any questions, please, you can unmute and have a talk. Thank you.